Come on,
Give us a clue.
you guys know me.
Give us a clue.
Oh, Princess Leia.
Bam. Oops.
Carrie.
I got it right. I got it right.
Oh, Jim.
Love it.
There was also this one, but I have to be over here.
That was so sad that we didn't get to do our favorite crushes.
I know. We should do that again.
Better because she's over there. There we go. I had a few ready just in case.
Got a lot. Hi,
I
Nirmala.
had a big crush on her when I was 10
Hey,
in
everybody.
1977 when it first came out.
I remember going to see it at Grauman's Chinese Theater with my dad. He had
You
worked
went
on
to
the sound.
Grauman's?
He had worked on the sound with Lucas. So it was so fun. I think we sat through it 3 times in a row. We loved it so much.
I want to see this 10 Rings or 5 Rings. What's the Marvel movie out
Oh
now?
yeah.
Oh, Shang-Chi.
Is that how you, yeah.
It's a fun. Yeah,
Is
it's
it
a fun
good?
movie. Yeah, I would recommend.
Okay, good. I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, good
John.
afternoon. John Garcia here from SEMrush.
Hi.
Hello, I was
Hello.
waiting for the right time to interject. That was fun. All right, so I imagine it's a good chance to get started. I know there's a big group here today. So you guys make the call. It's not totally necessary yet to go through introductions. If you want to, that's fine. Really just need someone to really kick me off here and say, hey, this is our group. This is what we do as a whole. And this is what we're here for and expect of the opportunity to potentially use SEMrush. Sean has given me in the past some guidance there. And so I am set to get started, but it's great to kind of hear it to start the call. So whoever that individual might be could go ahead and kind of kick us off here.
I'm happy to do it, or Aaron, whatever.
Sean, why don't you go ahead and take it?
Okay, so there's just kind of a diverse group. I don't think we need specific introductions, but just know that we have marketing managers, content writers, me and Avery do UX, Tim's web, Aaron's head of marketing. So there's kind of everything that we do is represented in the call, except for we're missing our social media person, but that's why I'm recording.
Okay.
So if we could touch on it from that perspective as well.
Sure.
But everything the tool can do to help our team with, brand or, web research, anything you would see, in other teams, that's kind of what we're looking for as an overview to how to use the tool and how to have all of us get the most out of it.
Fantastic. I may have said this already, Sean. I know we've met once and done this before. Some of the faces are really starting to look familiar. But I like that the whole group's on the call here today because I think it's kind of in line with what SEMrush is. I often describe SEMrush in the marketing world as a jack of all trades, master of some. There are some things that SEMrush is really good at. Everything else is complementary and nothing stinks, right? So I don't want to ever set the expectation that master of none phrase. So we're a well-rounded, all-inclusive marketing software. We'll help marketing managers, SEOs, and content teams. We can help social media teams, and we can help identify backlinks, audit backlinks, or manage your web properties from a technical perspective. So I hope to throw a lot of that at you today. To get started, I'll share my screen. Obviously, step one to success here. So let me make
Sorry,
sure.
John, just real quick. Sean, Are you sure it's recording?
Yeah, I was just sending you a message. It's showing recording
Okay.
on, even as I type you this message, it says who can
Awesome.
see messages recording on. So I presume it's on. It's weird that it's not showing you guys that it's recording.
Okay.
That's
No problem. Usually you get that pop up.
right.
But I didn't get the pop
I
up.
see it.
But the lights.
Okay, awesome.
I
Sorry,
did
go ahead.
also see an indication that it's recording. So just
Okay.
to add that. All right. So on my screen, you should see our local SEO tool. And I don't think we spent a lot of time on this topic last time we spoke. So we'll kick off here today. First thing to know is that SEMrush is a Yext partner. So individuals responsible or familiar with local SEO and Yext as a product for managing local SEO, note that SEMrush is API or directory capabilities, our ability to distribute information for it to live elsewhere on the web, is powered by the Yext APIs. Otherwise, our products are built and supported by SEMrush specifically. So the partnership isn't a total overlap, but rather we use their data distribution functions. In SEMrush, or SEMrush, I'm sorry, is the correct way to say it, I can take a business. In this case, I took the San Diego Health Express Care in Encinitas, and I audited that business against directories across the web. Very easy to do. Generally, all you enter is the name of the Google My Business title, and we'll be able to find which entity you're talking about. So this tells me, okay, after looking at directories, you're present on most. There's only one, if not any, that really have any issues. And there are some directories that you can still distribute this information to. So the first thing SEMrush can do is audit. If I ask somebody, is your distribution of your Google My Business information good or not so good? This tool can kind of answer the question. And you see here that it does look to be pretty well distributed across the web with no major inconsistencies. Everybody has a consistent name, a consistent phone number. You know, Google does look for that validity. I know most of us don't use ablocal.com. However, these databases do share information across different entities, and also Google does look for that information to be accurate across the web for validating, you know, what they're hosting in their local pack rankings. So all good so far. If you were to use this tool to manage local SEO, you'll have an interface that looks exactly like this one on my screen, and I'll quickly take you through the functionalities of our local listings management tool. First and foremost, you can, you know, look at a high-level view of all of your locations. I imagine that might be helpful. With as many as you have, you'll get kind of a green or yellow or red indicator of, hey, this location needs attention, this one's all set. So when you're placing your bets and figuring out where to, you know, make sure you're tracking or fixing errors, we can kind of give you that cumulative view. Or you could manage a location at the specific level. What I can do here is easily edit SEMrush's business information. I shall not, but I can, in which I can change the brand name. If our address is updated, if a location moves from one building to another, you have one central location to change that information and distribute it accurately across the web. So all of that, you know, core Google My Business information, you will integrate directly to GMB, as well as the opportunity to integrate directly to your Facebook profile as well. I've often called this COVID-19 hours. The holiday hours feature, I think, is especially important this time of year because hours are changing. Things are happening that consumers don't expect, right? I found it in my hometown. The bowling alley has still not updated their business hours. The pizza shop down the street tells you they're closed. And so the holiday hours or COVID-19 hours gives you the opportunity to adjust business hours very quickly on the fly for whatever date you might have to go against the normal hours of operation, as well as managing, of course, your business information from a standardized perspective as well. So there's a lot of insights here about how different inputs can help optimize your location. And again, one central place to manage this change for all of these directories on the web. Elsewhere in our listings management tool is duplicate suppression. Anytime you're on a directory twice, we'll flag it and say, hey, which one of these is correct, so we can feature a primary. User suggestions, the business hours conundrum, right? Your business hours are wrong and I showed up at your place and you're not open. And so a lot of times users will go on Google, they'll leave a nasty review, and they'll sometimes request a change. So any changes that are requested for any of your GMB entities, again, can be approved or rejected here. And you'll have kind of a dialogue, or not dialogue, but a log of all of the changes that have been requested. For example, users often think our headquarters is in a different city than it is. Reviews are aggregated, and you can see here any reviews that come in from any directories you'll have, and you'll have the ability to respond to Facebook and Google reviews if you're using the premium version of our listings management tool. So one of the two features I'll discuss of the premium version is the ability to respond directly to Facebook and Google reviews right from SEMrush. Otherwise, reviews will be aggregated no matter what on either product. And then lastly, and we'll move on from this product here, is the heat map. This is a local SEO kind of analysis tool. I think it's very useful in many use cases. And this is part of the premium plan. What you would do here. Now, I'll give you an example, because in SEO, and SEOs like to track keywords. And certainly that's much part of what we do. And a scenario like yours, where you're operating in many zip codes across the California region, and you're responsible for many different business entities and their local presence, oftentimes we could end up with really, really rich position trackers, tracking a ton of keywords for a ton of locations. And that could be hard to keep organized at scale, although certainly it is a way in which we do reporting. Another way in which to do your reporting is to take 5 really important keywords, like urgent care near me, urgent care San Diego, etc., COVID test, all that stuff. You can set up 5 keywords and select your location. And with those 5 keywords, we'll scan your radius up to 100 square miles in which you would set up. And what we're tracking here is your Google local pack ranking, your local map ranking specifically for each zip code or region in which you have covered in your analysis. So you can set up a 3x3, 5x5, or 7x7 grid that you see on my screen, and up to 100 square miles to measure, hey, our Encinitas urgent care is really well ranking to the west, but not so much to the east. Or, it's really good at Encinitas, but when we get to the next town over, I forget what that town's called, ultimately we kind of fall off. And you'll know what kind of coverage you really have across the board with that particular local business and its local presence. I'll pause for questions. I do encourage questions to pour in via verbally or chat. If I don't see any, I'll just keep moving, but we are going to advance from the local SEO tool.
Yeah, I do have a question, John. So we also have a partnership with Yext, and they do our listing management for us. So I get that this does keyword analysis, and that's a separate thing. But actually, like the listing management of like managing GMB, would those two conflict? If someone made a change in here, and I have someone making a change in Yext back end?
I certainly wouldn't recommend using both.
Yeah.
Conflict is probably the right word. Usually though, however, if you are with Yext and active using Yext, you won't even be able to connect these or set these up to work, right? Because we are Yext powered, and they're going to have that kind of measure of security, if you will, there to prevent that. Obviously, a core function of that is to have one centralized location and not have anybody and from anywhere who can just go in and make that change. And so there would be a layer of protection there.
Now, and you mentioned a couple of times, like the heat map, and another time that it was the premium feature. Is the listing management part of the premium feature, or is that just part of your normal?
Nope. The only premium features are the listing management tool plus 2 things, and that's the ability to respond to reviews on Facebook and Google, as well as the heat map report.
The reviews. Okay, great, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to hit the core home button, SEMrush here, and go back to where to start, right? There are 2 places where I imagine you might start, and that's either your SEO dashboard, which is really looking at SEMrush's management functions, like a site audit or reports you might set up, and bringing a dashboard together for those management tools, and we'll be looking at that. Or I'll often say start your competitive research with the domain overview. The domain overview, it's easy to take scripts, I'm going to take in this case, and input a domain and quickly see, all right, what the heck makes this web entity move, right? Is it organic? Is it paid search traffic, which oddly has really waned back month over month, I see. I'll have to take a look at that. But this will give me an idea of my competitor's authority. I do like to compare authority across UCSD versus scripts, and we'll show you how to do that here. I'll hit compare domains, and I'll type in health.ucsd.edu. And notice we anticipate your domain is a little bit more authoritative. And so that really helps a user in SEMrush. That way, when you find keywords that your competitor is outranking you for, you're going to be able to tell, hey, wait a minute, that's not right. We win 4 out of 5 times or 3 out of 5 times, we're able to outrank them. What are all these keywords they outrank us for? So it's good to know how your authority benchmarks against competitors, because then it'll allow you to read the data and draw the right kind of assumptions from it. If I'm 30% less authoritative than Mayo Clinic and they're ranking first and I'm ranking second, I'll probably treat that as a win. But if I'm 30% more authoritative than my competitor, I want to know every keyword they outrank me for. So really good benchmark. It's an overarching metric that will help users kind of understand, all right, where are we at versus the next competitor. You can drill into a competitor's organic or paid search traffic. So what I'll do here is I'll select scripts.org's organic traffic. This will help me to understand all of the keywords they rank for. The health industry is a very big one on the web. And so these keyword data sets get very large. Your rank trackers often get very large too. From an enterprise perspective, some of my biggest clients on rank tracking is the healthcare industry. And so important to know how that kind of might align with SEMrush tools. And so there are 296,000 keywords here. Sure, can we go through each one of them? Things like what takes inflammation out of your body. You can kind of see their content strategy. There are plenty of ways to filter. We can filter by volume expectations. We can filter by keywords or topics, or by give me only their first page rankings, because I want to target all of those that we're not ranking for. So there's a lot of ways to cut this data down. My favorite way to do it is the Pages tab, because some of their pages will be relevant to all of you. Others might not be your wheelhouse, might not be your specialty, or something that UCSD offers or covers. And so I love the Pages tab as a way to get away from those things. It allows me to look at URLs specifically that get the best results for scripts. So believe it or not, their news item here, if A-Juice cleanses get results, is ultimately one of their most trafficked pages. And can stress cause rashes, another one. So you can see their content strategy and how it really plays in to the traffic in which this website garners. And let's just say you're looking at your content strategy. 6 keys to reducing inflammation. Let's just say, hey, you know what? Some content writer on the call here was just talking about writing that topic. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to drill into this URL, because now all 300,000 keywords are set aside, and we're really only looking at the data that ranks for this page. By the way, this URL, 6 ways to reduce inflammation. I would suggest 7 ways to reduce inflammation. Reason being is because generally when Google has a featured snippet result in which includes an ordered list, often you'll see 7 or 8 bullet points in that ordered list. So good savvy SEOs will optimize a page like this. Instead of saying top 10 ways to reduce inflammation, do the top 7. It kind of plays a little nicer to what Google wants to fit in that time and space on a search engine results page. All right. So anyway, here's the URL level. Here's 2,800 keywords. And now I'm really on topic. I'm looking at keywords that are relevant to the planning that I'm doing. And so that's a great way to get away from some of the broader data sets. Now, this plus sign exists to save data. So I imagine some of the users on the call today might get started in using SEMrush's trial. This plus sign is here to save data for you. When you hit that plus sign, it's going to move it into a list. You will set up the list. The first time you do it, it'll just ask you to create one. Let's just name it, I don't know, healthcare non-branded. And now I have a place to put any of the data that's attractive to me. And so I'll hit this plus sign anytime I see a keyword that might be something I want to take a closer look at. Lastly here, I don't want to get too hung up on 1 or 2 reports. But I do want to note the combination of volume and keyword difficulty that from an SEO perspective, you do want to use. Now, the first thing I'll note is that your domain is very authoritative by default. Keyword difficulty should not scare your domain away like it would, John's health blog that just launched last week, right? I really have to go for the low-hanging fruit. So keyword difficulty is a metric we use to say, hey, This is Wikipedia's ranking there. Healthline, as you probably all know, is often ranking. And so WebMD, you know, when you get away from those sites, you're going to see keyword difficulty probably drive down a little bit. So you do want to look for a combination of monthly search volume trending high and keyword difficulty trending low. And you're not always going to get it, especially in your competitive space. And so what does this 66 really mean? The 66 numerical keyword difficulty is a measure of the strength of the top 10 ranking pages on Google. So here in this SERP analysis, Scripps, Healthline, Harvard, and Mayo Clinic, look at the amount of domains that are linking to this page, right? Their respective page. And the AS is the authority score estimate of each of these pages. You can see that these pages are no slouch, right? Except until we get to the back end of the first page. These are difficult pages to go out and rank against, hence that keyword difficulty metric. So as you find keyword difficulty drives lower, 40s, 30s, etc., what you might find is pages that rank that don't have backlinks and don't have a lot of authority. That will be a little bit easier for you to potentially target. Okay, powering through. One last report I wouldn't leave the competitive kind of research tools with is the keyword gap report. What you can do here is measure the differences between you and Scripps. Now, it's time to take you back to that little tangent I went on about authority score, right?
You got to swap.
You know
those.
you're
Health.
authoritative.
Health.ucsd.
Oh, did I make a typo? See, I'm not even looking at the screen yet. Thanks. So the authority score, we looked at it and we know you're a bit more authoritative. And so generally, and I do this demo a lot, generally you'll find that UCSD will win when it comes to ranking for keywords versus the other. And so I'm going to take health.ucsd, scripps.org. I'm going to look only at first page rankings. And you share 729 keywords. And how about this? It's a 50-50 split. You're ranking for half of them. They rank a little better for the other half. Now, many of these are probably branded and that's probably in play here, but that does align with your similar authorities. You're a little bit higher. And so I would expect you to have a little bit of an advantage, but you saw that you're both pretty close. And what do you know, when you do compete on the first page, it's kind of a toss up. That will hold true with the authority score benchmarking. And so it'll help you understand how to read our data and how to recognize opportunity. You might look here at the week report and see where does Scripps outrank you. You can start filtering out branded keywords and really get down to the ones that matter. When to go to urgent care. That's something they must have created some content on. And you see that they have this page 4 times you should go to the emergency room or urgent care. Lastly here, untapped. This is going to show me keywords one entity ranks for that you do not. And so here are inflammation, and we know we kind of already saw that page and how well it does for them. Well, here's a keyword they rank for and you don't. Juice cleanse, nail fungus, toenail fungus, and the list goes on, right? So all this evergreen content potential, probably will find a lot of it here. I'll pause for questions. Okay.
Team, I just want to make sure that if there's any specific topics, you guys want to hit.
Yeah. So I would like to hear about the brand monitoring tool. It was really attractive to me that, we have the ability to, to sort of have this 360-degree view about what people are saying about us. We are monitoring, social specifically, but I'd like to hear a little bit about that tool.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. So I'm going to skip ahead there just for the sake of time, make sure I don't try to squeeze it in at the very end. I'm going to jump to my SEO dashboard. Brand monitoring is one of those management tools I talked about, and your management tools are going to live in your project. This is going to include your site audit, your rank tracking that you might do to set up some reports, your technical health scores and on-page SEO ideas, as well as functions like an ability to audit your backlinks, or set up your social media tools, which you're not seeing on my screen here. So I'm going to select my project that's related to UCSD. And now my dashboard is starting to fill itself out. As you set up these management tools, this dashboard will kind of naturally curate. And so what we're going to look at is the brand monitoring tool. Aaron, I made a mistake. I should have stayed on that example project to show you that one. All right, where is it? All right, I'm going to try to find it this way. Bear with me. Admittedly, we did just change this interface. This dashboard is a bit new. I can't find the brand monitoring tool. So I will show it to you. I just have to find it, but technically that won't be part of the onboarding that I hope to share with your group. So let me find this brand monitoring tool. And I'm using my knowledge base to find it. Just a quick example of the knowledge base and how it can help you. So thank you for that. I'm just going to select brand monitoring. I imagine clicking this link is going to take me right to it. And there it is under content marketing. So I found it, and I'll make sure I do a better job of navigating y'all to it as we progress with your product. So what I'm going to do here is use my example campaign. Let me look for a good one here. Crowd content. All right, so here's the brand monitoring interface. What you would do is set up your branded terms. In my example here, we're looking for keywords related to Ferrotech and any references of baby strollers on the web. So the branded term or non-branded, if you just want to aggregate any mention of something, you can with this tool, or we're looking for some branded references as well. Here, you will aggregate anytime such a keyword is referenced. So in this case, we're seeing a lot of baby stroller results as we looked for that particular keyword. So it's aggregating all of the different web entities that, that have a baby stroller reference. It's going to tell you whether or not that this page is linking to you or not. And especially when you're looking for branded terms, you know, you'd expect oftentimes your brand name when referenced to be linked. So it'll tell you, hey, this page does mention UC San Diego Jacobs Medical Center, but it doesn't link to your site. And so it'll say no backlink. We'll also try to identify whether sentiment is positive or negative, or you can tag it as such. And we'll show you exactly, of course, the URL that's referencing this mention, and also the site and how authoritative might this site be. Is it a high volume site? Is it WebMD? Are they missing a link opportunity? And that can give you an opportunity to manage your PR by any, you know, good or bad press that floats on the web, and also do some link building with this tool too. You can identify those pages that are already referencing you and not linking to you. Those are hopefully some of the easier links to pick up. We'll do tracking across the web, Twitter, Instagram, web forums as well as provide reports on volume trends. For any reason, trends are up or mentions are up because of good or bad reasons, you'll probably be able to kind of measure that here. Aaron, any questions before I sign off this tool?
So sorry, could you just go back and click on where you clicked on web? I wanted to see what those categories were under there again. So
Sure.
Web, forums, Instagram. Okay.
And Twitter in the mentions tab.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then we've kind of built a dashboard that's pretty new too. Just total mentions, sentiment analysis, and some of the higher level data to bring together for you. What kind of sites are referencing you and all that good stuff. When you think about references or referrals, I'll quickly flash to what is our trends add-on in SEMrush. I imagine some of the licenses in which you may procure are going to have access to this. This is very comparable if you've ever used SimilarWeb. And I will say I generally only push this tool or sell this tool when I'm dealing with high volume domains, high trafficked web properties, because the lower volumes, clickstream analysis is just too sparse. So what we can do is we'll type in scripts.org. We'll also be typing in your domain as well. And so I've got to look at scripts, kind of like if I were able to give you a predictive view to their Google Analytics, very much a predictive view. And that's what it is. but ultimately kind of gives you that look inside, what kind of trends do they have versus us? One of my favorite reports here is to look at traffic journey to each site and understand where do they win referral traffic that you don't, or vice versa. So I think it was healthline.com has kind of a split impact on both of your sites, whereas WebMD and Medical News Today sends traffic only to San Diego Health, right? Aaron, it looks like you know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tim, yes, that was intentional.
All
Thank you.
right, well, good stuff. So that's what we want to share here. So I won't even go any further. That's what we want you to see. Where's that
Yeah.
intentionality winning for your competitors, right?
Mhm.
And go capture those partnerships. So I love that report. The add-on
The
also
Hawaii
features-
guys, did you see that on there, Hallie, Sean? Hawaii guide, there you go.
Yes.
Again, intentional, we're doing Hawaii
Nice.
testing, yeah.
So a good look at your wins, right? And that's what SEMrush wants to do. Is
And
kind of
opportunities, yeah.
John, how important is it that Wikipedia is sending a lot of stuff to them? Because they're super high authority, right?
Yeah, that's a good insight, Tim. I didn't recognize that one as I scrolled past this. I think that's valid. Is it a ton of traffic by volume, not by the estimate? But is it a clear 80-20 split? Yes. And so I would say Wikipedia.
Oh, it's only
important
2,000, I
because of
see.
its volume.
Okay. Okay, good.
I'm glad you guys like that report. I think it's a valuable one. Also, with the trends add-on, you'll have the Market Explorer tool. And
Sorry,
this will help
real
me
quick.
understand your
That trends add-on, is that, when you say add-on, is that in, the addition that, or the version that we're looking at, or is that truly an add-on? Because I just want to make sure we're noting if it's not that.
by default, it's not included on any core product.
Okay,
So you'll want to decide how many licensees of this product might benefit from these reports.
yeah,
Generally, Aaron, I find that they're more higher level reports. It's going to look at your industry as a whole. It's going to look at the website as a whole, and less granular. It's not keyword data or content marketing data, but rather kind of like, here's my industry and here's where we're positioned versus everybody else at the highest level. The
Thank
Market Explorer might kind of flash to that a little bit too. Here it looks at the market share for scripts and the total market size. Now, this is totally off, but what I'll do here is we'll create a list of other competitors. Like, let's say it's Kaiser Permanente. Oh God, that's a tough one. And honestly, I think it's kp.org.
or you could do Sharp.
Okay, Sharp was in here, sharp.com or?
I think it's,
Yeah,
is it
Sharp
Sharp Health? Sharp Health.
Okay. And we'll throw sutterhealth.org and bingo, I'll just create an analyst just to give you a view. This is going to set up a quadrant for this market and say, all right, who's who? Sutter Health is your highest volume player. Their growth has stagnated. Sharp is not trending up as far as their traffic and volume growth. However, Scripps is. Notice over the last 6 months, we see Scripps trending at 32% upward at a traffic volume of just under 1 million hits per month. And so this will allow you to really set up your whole industry in here and understand who's a riser and who's a faller and where you represent in all of that. And then it'll give you a kind of share of market breakdown. So the broader here, the better, in which you'll look at who's got that best referral network. Now I know to go look at Sutter Health's referral traffic in that report we just looked at. And when it comes to social media, now I know who to follow along with, right? And paid traffic telling me that, yes, it's Sutter again, that's kind of winning this area. Let's look at what they're doing. And so the Market Explorer will give you that understanding and then take a closer look at the different digital verticals. It'll also look at some demographics information and other reports related to benchmarking across your industry. All right, I know that we're at about the 10-minute mark here. I do want to leave some time for questions. So I'll show you one more flash through here. There's a lot of stuff to onboard you all with. So I imagine, breaking this into parts won't hurt, especially as you get started with a trial. But really quickly for the content marketers, I know there's a stake on this call, is your ability in SEMrush to first do keyword research. Our keyword magic tool is the most depthful for that. I'm going to hit flu shot. I've kind of already planned this out. I'll hit flu shot. I intentionally like to search a broad topic because it's very easy to drill down. Free flu shots, effects of the flu shot. You can drill into this category and narrow down from 92,000 keywords to 2,000 keywords. And so I like to start broad and get myself exposed to the phrases that are most commonly searched. Total volume is 2.5 million. Things I like to do when I'm creating content are advanced filters, SERP features. Look for keywords that trigger instant answers and featured snippets on search engine results pages. Great opportunity to get down to some very content-centric keyword data. Another thing I really like to do is hit this questions tab. One question I found myself asking yesterday is, what's the best time of the year to get the flu shot? If I get it too soon, will it wear off? You know, and so here are the questions that searchers ask about the flu shot. And so how long does it last? When do I get it? And you'll use that combination of volume and difficulty to decide ultimately what keywords might be best. Look at this example here, 5,400 searches and a 24% keyword difficulty metric. Look at how that varies against all of the other options. I want those things to jump right off the page for you guys and say, hey, wait a minute, let's take a closer look at this. And look, the second ranking page, Hamilton Health Center, has an authority score of 6 and 13 backlinks, whereas the 5th ranking page from GoodRx has no authority as we measure it. And also, you don't see Wikipedia or other big time sites like WebMD. So this should stand out and say, hey, there's a clear-cut opportunity for us to rank first here. Take your keyword, and then I'm going to wrap up. We're going to take our keyword, hit it, the content marketing SEO content template. Every user is going to want to be equipped. Every content marketer is going to want to be equipped with our SEO ideas units. You do get 2,000 a month, and that limit does reset. I'm kind of talking to Aaron here. It's not a limit I have to build up very often, but it is a limit that will be important to your team if they're using this tool. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our target keyword. When is the best time to get a flu shot? And we're going to run an audit. And we could run this audit in California, or we could run it at the US level or San Diego level. And what it does is it audited the top 10 pages and says, all right, after looking at them, we think you should try, you don't have to use every one, you should try to use these keywords. You should be around 799 words. And here's how everybody else has used this content. So what I generally like to do is take an example of a competitor. Now, you will very much run your own content through here. I'll oftentimes, though, first pick a target that I want to beat, and I'll copy their content in the tool. And so notice, whether this is their content or your content, what you do is you put the text in here, and we grade it and say, okay, great job, right? You've really written an SEO-friendly page that grades really well on readability, has an on-trend word count, SEO keywords, they're using some, you're not using most. That's not uncommon. And also, if any of these light up orange, it means we think you're keyword stuffing. So they'll be either green or orange. Lastly, and then I'm done, I promise. If anybody ever asked me, John, what is the most important aspect of using this tool? What's the most important set of feedback? What don't I hit post until I satisfied? Believe me, imagine I've done this now probably 350 times. I've said exactly what I'm going to say right now. Very often when I run this audit and I take a top page like I did with this one and put it in SEMrush, if all else fails, one thing that's always going to hold true about a top ranking page is that top ranking pages are very, very consistent in the tonality in which they take on. So we do measure your tonality, and I got to say about 80% of the internet is somewhat formal. That's generally what I see here on this scale. I worry a little bit less about this and more about making sure whatever tone you do take on, that you stay on it. And Google really likes us sounding and writing like humans. So I love this metric. And I find that, man, I really just loved that metric there. I find that when it is high, it does often correlate to success. And when you find it trends down, results trend down. All right.
Do we have access to that SEO writing assistant? Because I can't find it in I'm logged in and trying to follow with you. So I don't see it there. coming up in my choices on page and tech SEO.
Okay, you'll want to find it under the content marketing dropdown. SEO content template and SEO writing assistant were the two that we just used. And I will, when I log off this demo, take a look at the trial that was set up and make
Okay,
sure
no,
that
I
all
see
the
it. I do
users
see
have
it. I see it. I was just in the wrong bucket.
No problem. Thanks, Christina. Did I miss on anything today? I probably could have spent a little bit of time on social media, rank tracking. If you guys do want me to proceed with that, I do have the time, but I know there's a lot of stakeholders on this call.
Yeah, I think it might be better. The person who would be most relevant for is missing. So,
Yeah.
maybe we can set up some time with the two
Sure,
of you or
I'll
something
happy
like
to just do an individual sync there too.
that. Okay.
All in all, outside of any questions, what as a team, what do you guys think of the fit?
I just love that Market Explorer. That was,
Oh my gosh, I'm salivating.
that's
Yeah.
Good,
that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
good. That's what I like to hear.
And I
that
like
would be
this-
part of the
this-
trends add-on.
Yeah, the trend
This-
ad is awesome.
That seems to be the add-on to, the other tools we have. This is something new.
Right.
Tim, I imagine you're going to want to check out the site audit tool if you haven't already as part of the web management team. The site audit is going to be your most technical of these products. And on the site audit, take a really close look at errors. You guys may have to authorize a site like SEMrush to crawl your website by setting up whitelisting our IP address. We can provide you the details for doing it pretty easy. But your errors, Tim, you'll have errors, warnings, and notices. Please note that errors are the things that we think are going to impact potentially your rankings more than anything else. So do focus your attention on that report. That's going to show broken links, security issues, and other relevant topics.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For those who are excited to go use their trial now, please note you have the Academy and the Help Center, as well as live chat. Please know that anytime you're looking at a SEMrush report, you can hit this Help Center or user manual link right here. That's going to take you to Resources, Help Center, and right to that tool's whole rundown of how to configure it. Our knowledge base is very thorough. Do get comfortable with the user manual link in the top right corner. If you want to ping us in real time, you can hit this live chat button right here. And if you just go to the main Help Center page, you'll find two really important things. I wouldn't be babbling here if I didn't think these were important to sneak in before we logged off. The Getting Started guide. Tim, the first thing on there is setting up the project and the site audit and whatnot. So I think that's a great place to start with this Getting Started guide, which for some reason won't load for me. Here it is. It has a few kind of quick win links that'll get you started with the product. And then workflows. People or users ask me, hey, how do I connect the dots with SEMrush? You gave me this great insight here and a great insight over here. What do I do, right? What's next? And so there are a bunch of how-to articles, SEO, content marketing, social media, tons of workflows here. So these are really great for the new users who are looking to say, okay, I've got a couple insights. How do I really flow this all through the product? And then there's the Academy. The Academy is full of training courses for our products and industry best practices. So anytime you see a face on them, these are usually like, hey, here's how to practice effective, paid per click advertising in the real world through the lens of SEMrush resources. Others say SEMrush tools. This is going to be very product and training focused. So just know the difference between those Academy courses. You do get certification exams and certifications that look really good on your LinkedIn profile. I thought that it was important to cover those two resources before we logged off. Otherwise, Sean, Aaron, I'll sync with you guys and make sure that the stakeholders who are trialing SEMrush have an opportunity to sync with me individually if they want, or how we can help you best support your trial. Otherwise, I'll wait for some feedback and your guidance.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Sorry, having trouble with my audio. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. You will have the recording, so I wanted to send that over. You'll have that with your Zoom account.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. I imagine we'll
Thank
be
you.
talking again soon.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
See ya.